ako.
Yes, yes, dako yawan din pili mo tep.
Oh, di ba?
Mina,
Ay, oh, di ba siya?
Manugom ra ko, guys.
tungog ra
Yes,
ko kaayo
please.
ay kagaol daw.
Okay, kayo. Okay, so hi guys, I'm Glaze Bontilaw, and let's start with Christianity and religious tolerance. Okay, so religious tolerance. The idea of religious tolerance is that it's a freedom of religion. It means to acknowledge that others have differing beliefs and accept that it is their right to do so. Before, in Roman Empire, to all its subject people, Rome had granted religious toleration as long as they also honored Roman gods or the Roman emperor. Now, the Roman religion included many major and minor gods headed by the sky god, Jupiter. So kung sa Greek pa na, ang iyahang counterpart kay si Zeus. In Roman belief, there's a sort of contract existed between the people and their gods. In exchange for the Romans practicing the required religious rituals, the gods would ensure prosperity, health, and military success. Now that the religions that Rome had the most problems with were Judaism and Christianity, because these religions believed there was just one God and they prohibited worshipping other gods. Their members refused to make offerings to Roman gods or even take part in Roman religious festivals because the Christian thinks it's a form of idolatry. But that's how just Rome show their loyalty to their gods. Now these religions, both the Judaism and Christianity, tested the Roman tolerance. In the eyes of Romans, these threatened the unity and security of the empire. And being a Christian soon came to mean being an anti-Rome. So naturally, if you are considered an anti-Rome, and with the way how Romans show their power and authority, persecution happened. However, after many enduring years later on, support for the attacks on Christian was far from universal, since Christianity had started to become widely accepted in Roman Empire. There was a movement of religious toleration grow among the population, and outcry against the state policy officially ended the persecution. This groundswell of support expanded when Constantine became the emperor of the Western Roman Empire. While ang nagrule sa eastern portion of the empire kay si Licinius or Licinius. Yeah. So in January of 313, the two met in Milan. Milan is a city in Italy, to discuss the religious freedom throughout the empire. So an agreement was made and a proclamation announced that guaranteed religious freedom to all. This declaration is now called the Edict of Milan. Next slide, please. Okay, so the differences between Eastern Church and Western Church. In 1054, East-West Schism or the Great Schism happened, which was the result of the Eastern and Western Christianity often not getting along politically and having different opinions on how one should serve Christ. The Western Church or the Roman Catholic is different from that of Eastern Church or Eastern Orthodox. However, both are part of Christianity. Now, the term Catholic comes from the word universal. So, what it really means is universal Christianity, while Orthodox Orthodox relates to the following: the correct beliefs or right way according to tradition and law. Now, the first differences is that Western Church is centered in Rome, while Eastern Church centered in Constantinople. It's a city, I think part siya sa Byzantine Empire. Well, ang Rome kay, syempre part siya sa Roman Empire. Next is Pope has authority over bishops. However, sa Orthodox Church, the Pope is not their leader. Instead, each different Orthodox church has a head bishop who's elected by all other bishops in that church, and he becomes the patriarch or what's called the Holy Synod. Patriarch and other bishops share the same authority. Next is that when Constantinople became a capital, the Western Church is far away from the seat of power, while the Orthodox is, of course, close to the seat of power. Next is when doing church services, the Western Church or the Roman Catholic uses Latin in liturgy, while Orthodox Church use Greek. Next is in Catholic Church, Pope has the authority over kings and emperors, while in Orthodox Church, Emperor has the authority over the patriarch and bishops. Now, in Catholic, priests can't marry and divorce is not permitted. While in Orthodox, priests can marry and divorce is allowed only under certain conditions. Now, the Orthodox Christian is usually okay ra sila being celibate or not celibate. While Catholics, dili nila allowed ang mga pari to have intimate partners. Next slide, please. Okay, so the Crusades in the Age of Exploration, or also known as the Age of Discovery. The Crusades were a series of religious wars beginning in the late 11th century that were organized by Western Christians in response to centuries of Muslim wars of expansion. The objectives of the Crusades were to check the spread of Islam and to retake control of the Holy Land, to conquer pagan areas, and also to recapture the formerly Christian territories. Now, the Crusades were seen by many of their participants as a means of redemption and expiation of for sins. So the first crusade happened around 1095 that persists until 1099. However, it also extended until I think it's 1289. Yeah. So of course, because it is war, naturally masabtan na to, there's bloodbath. So the effects of crusades is that ultimately defeat siya for the Europeans, and it's a Muslim victory. However, many argue that they successfully extended the reach of Christianity in Western civilization. The Roman Catholic Church experienced an increase in wealth, and the power of the Pope was elevated during the Crusades. And trade and transportation also improved throughout the Europe as a result of the Crusades. So how did the Crusades lead to the age of exploration or the age of discovery? Between 1096 and 1291, Christian armies set out on numerous crusades to topple Muslims, right, to control of the Holy Land. But 2 centuries later, Christians once again traveled the world on a mission that bore certain similarities to the Crusades. Primarily, the Crusade is a religious war, but the Crusade had an economic motive too, which is to control the trade routes of the Holy Land that would bring the Christian kingdoms a great wealth. However, the Ottoman Empire um, steadily grow in power in the 14th and 15th centuries and strongly controlled the eastern Mediterranean and Holy Land. To get around the Ottomans, Europeans sought new routes to Asian trade markets. Now, the crusade led to exploration by Europeans in that they encouraged the development of trade between East and West. On their travels, crusaders become acquainted with goods such as fine silks and spices that were unavailable at home. This led to a dramatic increase in international trade as well as further global exploration by Westerners. Although the economic angle of the age of exploration or discovery was important, religion played a key role too. European explorers wanted to spread the Christian faith to new lands just as they had done in the Crusades. Now, the energies that had previously gone into retaking the Holy Land from Muslims were instead channeled into a very different kind of conquest. The Crusades may have been a failure from a military standpoint, but in the long run, they were a huge cultural and economic success for the West in that they opened up a vast new opportunity for traders, explorers, and merchants alike. Next slide, please. Okay, so the Protestant Reformation. It's a religious reform movement that swept through Europe in the 15th century. It resulted in the creation of a branch of Christianity called Protestantism. This is a name used collectively to refer to many religious groups that separated from the Roman Catholic Church due to the differences in doctrine. So it began in Wittenberg, Germany on October 31, 1517, when Martin Luther, which is a teacher and a monk, published a document he called Disputation on the Power of Indulgence, or also known as the 95 Theses. The document was a series of 95 ideas about Christianity. These ideas were controversial because they directly contradicted the Catholic Church teachings. Now, Luther's statement challenged the Catholic Church role as intermediary between people and God, specifically specifically when it came to the practice of selling indulgences. When we say kasi o kuan indulgences, these were pardons from punishment for committing a sin, allowing the sinner to enter heaven. Karon kay ila man ning gipangurtaan, this practice brought in a great deal of revenue for the church. So the Pope then, using money raised through the sale of indulgence, to construct St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Luther argued against the practice of buying or earning forgiveness because he believed that instead, salvation is a gift from God and given only to those who have faith in Him. Okay, so Luther's objections to the indulgence system paved the way for the other challenges to the Catholic doctrine throughout Europe and inspired a series of new Christian denominations. So, new Christian denominations, um, example ani kay Baptism, Anglicanism, basta daghan. And in addition to Luther's 95 Theses, which were more than just an attack on selling of indulgences, Luther sought instead a full reform of the church. His teachings rested on three main ideas. First, people could win salvation only by faith in God's gift of forgiveness. Second is that all the church teachings should be clearly based on the words of the Bible. So the Pope and the church traditions were false authorities. Lastly, all people with faith were equal. Therefore, people did not need priests to interpret the Bible for them. So the next slide, please. Okay. So, as Protestantism swept across many parts of Europe, the Catholic Church reacted by making limited reforms and combating the further spread of Protestantism. This movement is known as the Catholic Counter-Reformation. From the word itself, Counter-Reformation, this is to counter the Protestant Reformation. So in 1545, at the request of Pope Paul III, Catholic bishops and cardinals met at the Council of Trent and agreed on the following doctrines. The first one is the Pope's interpretation of the Bible was final, and any Christian who substitute her own interpretation was a heretic. Heretic means those who denied or contradicted church teachings. Second is that Christians were not saved by faith alone, as Luther argued. They were saved by faith and good works. Third is that Bible and church tradition share equal authority for guiding a Christian's life. And the fourth, indulgences, pilgrimages, and venerations of holy relics were all valid expressions of Christian piety. Although, ang selling of indulgences kay gibad na siya. Now, the church also drew up a list of books, the index of forbidden books that were considered dangerous to Catholic faith. So, the church established the Inquisition, which is a court, which is ang primary purpose is to punish those heretics. So, trials were held to examine, and often by torture, those who denied or opposed church teachings. Now, what is the impact of the Reformation? Because of the Reformation, religion no longer unified the Europe. In Protestant countries, people no longer had allegiance to the Pope. Instead, the secular ruler became the highest authority. While in Catholic countries, the Church gave more power to secular rulers to help fight Protestantism. Finally, the Reformers' successful revolt against Church authority laid the groundwork for a rejection of Christian belief that occurred in Western culture in later centuries. Next slide, please. Okay, that ends my discussion.
Okay. And the national sa mga part, please. Am I audible? Hello?
Ano to siya?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Day. Madunggan ra ka, Day. Saman, okay pa ta diha, Madi? Okay, anyways. Hi, guys. Super heavy kayo ang topic sa, but in fact, in this topic, no, we can learn and somehow na tayo idea about the history of globalization and religion. So, chikat-chikat sa tagamay sa mga atong mga audience, no? Kay, I know, as in, super heavy kay ang topic. So, let's hear ni Gam. Hi, Gam! Hello, hello. Bro. Pag di mo tingog, wadyo ni naminaw ay. Audible na ba ko?
Audible na, Day.
Kani si Gam, lamay kani siya ko ano, no? So, sige. Let's hear ni, sa may ko na ni, Cristel Marie Antigua. May correct ba siya pagkuan? Hello.
Hello.
Very interesting ra ba ang topic?
Yes, very interesting.
Okay, how about
Sorry,
you,
chapter
Kay?
guys, okay. Pardon?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, yes. I can hear you. So
Is that-
let's proceed, no? I'm giving now the floor to Miss Marian Ingles, no, for the instruction to our icebreaker. Thank you. So, hello everyone. My name is Marian. So, ako yung maghatag day sa instruction. So, the title of our icebreaker is Pick a Door. Okay. I don't know if you've encountered this game already, but yeah. Okay, so this is what will happen. So, there are 5 doors as you can see, and 3 of which it contains a question. And naiduhaan na nakabutang better luck next time. So, this is what will happen. We have a list of group 2 names, great names group 2 to be drawn using the spin the wheel, and the name to be chosen will be the one to pick the door, and one of the door options is a question, but you must choose only one door, and if you choose the door with a question, then of course you must answer it, and if wala katong better luck next time, we will choose another name so that he will pick the door na sad. So we will do this until the 3 questions we have prepared are answered. And after our discussion, we will use the spin the wheel again to draw a name that will give his learning. So, klaro ra ba? Nasabtan ra? Guys? Sabtan ra ang instructions? Okay. Wala may naningog. Silence means yes. Okay. Miss Wette, kali spin the wheel na para maka-pick na taog name sa atong player.
Looking ko na si Mr. Shopping. Hello, audible ako guys.
Yes, nato siya ganina. I don't know if na left ba siya, but nato siya ganina.
Sige, if dili siya mo tingog, kay mo proceed na lang ta kay para maka-save ta sa time ha, kay wa naman gud tayo laing time. Right. Yes, na ka.
Stay.
Okay, Dai. Choose a door, Dai, or pick a door.
Saan?
Okay, wait sa ha. Tap, please ko tap. Okay, Mr. Retos. Pick a door, miss.
Kanang blue.
Okay, tap. Kana daw ang ikaduha, tap. Kanang blue.
Mag-umag sa balay.
Wala nga sa balay.
Tep, okay na Tep. Next reporter.
I'm very sorry guys, na technical problem sa among icebreaker. So let's proceed na lang for the next reporter. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I want to into details na lang sa kung unsa ang naa sa PPT. Ngay generalize na lang nako ang pag-explain sa ecumenical movements or ecumenism in general. So, let's start. Ecumenical movements or ecumenism, it is the principle or aim of protecting unity among the world's um Christian churches. Bali, the term ecumenical back then was meant for Protestant. It was predominantly Protestant. There were no Roman Catholics present, even Greek Orthodox. So, pero kaning ecumenical as a term, it continued to expand and broaden. So first, it was meant within Protestant denominations lang. Then ecumenical would come to mean na Protestants and Catholic and Jewish and Islam. So today, the term is very broad and elastic. The Edinburgh Missionary Conference, it is the beginning of the ecumenical movement. Um, The Edinburgh Missionary Conference questions inclusivism or the view that all religions have partial truth. So, people who attended the conference began raising questions like, is Jesus Christ the only way? Um, is Bible the true and final authority? Is Christianity the only true religion? So basically, it was a healthy discussion mainly because people keep their mind open to questions like mentioned kanina. So basically, this ecumenical um, events from the past up to this very day focuses on what we have in common. It is like paving way of smoothing over differences and combining faiths together until we are all one big conglomerate religion. But the question is this really necessary? Should this become the priority of churches? Does this have anything worthwhile to say to the major problems facing our world? So so I have an example here. So being a part of a being a part of, being a part of a conference, sorry, or an interreligious group or even meeting at a one-time meeting, syempre no one would want someone feel excluded, diba? So, bali we need to be cautious na on how we address our God. And as to at some point we are not allowed to use or mention the name of Jesus or Allah because simply wala ni sila gina-recognize sa uban religions. But isn't it weird if we cannot properly address to whom we are saying our prayers? Mura ra ta og nag-express sa atong vague hopes sa tao nga tapad ra nato. It is like calling someone to listen to us, but how can this someone do so if we are not certain and if we remain vague in identifying this someone? It is like calling a police when it is a doctor that we need or you need right at this moment. So when all we focus on is what we have in common and what we need to have in common, what we live with is what we already had from the start. So most of the time usahay makalimot ta nga most of the time ang atong differences can also bring change, and with our differences it is possible pod for us to unite and work together. How about we see the necessity of this movement or the ecumenism itself with our differences by accepting that we are different, that it is our differences that bear potential fruit, not the commonalities. How about we listen to people with different beliefs and discuss the differences with open mind without questioning what they believe in? Kay this way, or maybe this way, is an opportunity to see our religion through new eyes, to feel our faith intensely, or even better, to build or rebuild our relationship with God. And maybe in this way, our faith won't be a seasonal thing for us. So, moving on sa Second Vatican Council, um, Second Vatican Council, di ba, ang year sa 1960s, the time, kaning time nga 1960s, it is a time of radical change in the world or around the world kay na diri ang di ba dahon kay movements here, civil rights movement, anti-war protest, sexual revolution, challenging or of traditional gender roles, rapid advance of worldwide pop culture, o ang information technology. So Vatican II daghan kay ni-criticize ani, pero daghan sad kay nituo nga kung kinsa may nadiri sakto ilang gibuhat. So Vatican II, it is somehow sort of reformation. Ang mass nila daghang changes from the start sa Vatican II. Mass from Latin to English, ang lay people were distributing communion na meat eaten on Fridays, tapos ang dress code dili na mag-wear og habit ang mga niatan sa church or mga niatan sa mass, and Catholics collaborating with Protestants. So many people dismissed Vatican II as a liberal council. For some, Vatican II seemed like a betrayal of the church's tradition. Some practice lasted for centuries, disappeared, and some customs that offered uniform identity were suppressed. So many believe nga nalabay ra ang ancient history sa church. But really, didn't we confuse ourselves lang sa unchanging dogmatic tradition of the church with the individual traditional expressions of our own traditional response to our beliefs? Kay really dili man ta Catholic tungod lang sa atong dili angay og angay kanon, di ba? Dili ta makaingon nga we are already non-believers because of the way we pray, or just because how I say my prayers is different from how you say yours. Isn't it our call to be a follower? Isn't acknowledging God's presence more important than arguing what prayers you should say to be a Catholic or Christians, di ba? Isn't having the consciousness that God is among us already faith? If the church will only keep on exercising what they have been exercising, isn't it a bad thing already? Kay sa society, dako kayo og grow si church. In our case and generation, even ang mga pari, influential kayo, di ba? So the church having that kind of influence in power over people must always be free to update its teachings and adopt. So lastly, dalion na jud kanina ko guys kay time na. So lastly, liberation theology. I really have a lot. Daghan kay kog ganahan i-discuss about ani, but mainly liberation theology is it is based on teaching. It is based on the teaching and actions of Jesus. So this is like believing that Jesus was a socialist, diba? And that God speaks through the poor. Bali, nani sila sa sides, bali si Jesus, it is the belief that Jesus is not siya sa side sa oppressor and not, not siya sa side sa oppressed and not sa oppressor. So, it is to follow where God's heart is with the oppressed, calls people to be mindful that there are people in the world who are living in, that there are people who are oppressed who are living in the world, that somewhere in the world, naji people nga oppressed. So, I really have a lot of questions, Ani, pero it is already time. So, that would be all for my report. Thank you.